Alrighty, Doc here from North America. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and glad everybody had a good 3 or 4 days off. We had 3 nice days off. In Europa, you had 4. That's really nice. I think we need more vacations myself. Alrighty, let's take a look at it this morning and see which one do we at. Oh, I need to switch this one back over to here. Let's get the Swiss franc up there. You see the Swiss franc slid into a daily sell a few days back. And you can see it's actually trying to roll over. So I guess we're going to see a little weakness in the dollar. I guess that's what it's trying to tell us, and that's how we try to interpret it. So that's the action we are seeing. Cool. Nice, Nicole. Nice. I'm glad everything was peaceful and happy. And 4 days sounds nice, doesn't it? And I hope if you had some good weather, it's even better. And so that is what it is. And I guess the dollar is. Let's see. We just finish that. Good weather. I hope. There we are. I guess with the action we're seeing, we see interest rates trading in the 10-year at 172 basically. Seems to have found a way of basing in the 170s area. I've heard some talking about seeing the interest rate move up to 2%. That'd be interesting. The 30-year seems to be stalling out. It's actually trying to. Let me see if I can show it to you. Yeah, we can show it to you right here. Check out the 30-year. 30-year is there's the 10-year. You can see the 10-year is doing the same thing. It's jumped into a daily buy yesterday, and we're playing with the weekly buy there. You can see that right there. Can you see that? See that right there? There we go. And you can see it up here, daily buy. And then check out the 30-year. It's even more firmer and so forth. See, look at it. It's really trying to pop, and it gave us a volatility warning on Thursday of last week, and you see it's way up. It's moving way up faster. So they're gonna probably going to reach for the 30-year. I mean, why not? 2.25, in this case it's 235. I think it's 236 yield. So I mean, you could that wouldn't surprise me if it gets moving down a little bit in there. And I guess if we see it moving down, then we should see the dollar moving down. I mean, that would be the logic of it all. And that's the classic old fundamentals that we've always we used to follow decades ago before we moved into this QE era. Now we're in the QE era. It's a whole different game. Central banks decide where they want to keep all the currency pairs. So that is the action we're seeing going on there. Let's drift over to, who do we go to next? Let's see. Let's jump over to the euro. Let's see what the euro is doing here this morning. Right there. It jumped into a daily buy. I guess it was yesterday, but it had given us 2 days of volatility. Got through the plus area here. You can see it. See it right there. Look at that. And you can see the weekly is making a move through the lower manifold, the lower time manifold there, and trying to lift up in there. And so we're seeing strength coming into the euro. And then when we drift over to the cable right there, yeah, cable did the same thing. Went into a buy 4 days ago, had a nice little run to it. And what's Doc usually think? 140. So as I see it get into a daily buy, it's like 140. And then you can see here, we can put this in here. You can see it's flirting with the weekly weekly buy. I'm sorry, weekly buy. So we're seeing some action there. There we are. See, it's trying to get going in that area too. Now let's check it out on J4X this morning. We'll check out euro, and then we'll go jump over to the cable. We'll go reverse since we're going to go buy. There it is. It's right by it, and you can see here. There's the British pound. You'll see a couple greens, I'm sure, jump out here once it fills in. Yep, see that? Some greens matching up to all those green dots we have up in here. You see it right there. And you can see the line, the white line, jumped across the dotted line and has been climbing since like back here. It's been just really turning up pretty aggressively, which is rare. Look at it from this area here. It went down a little bit, and then it flirted with it, and then the second is always that charm. It's that A, B, and then C. When for those that follow the Elliott wave concept there. Hey, 47, how you doing? Canada. Let's check out the Canada. Let's see what it's doing this morning here. Let's see what CAD is doing. There's CAD loading in on the J4X. And we'll go over to Chicago Quant in a few seconds. There we go. You can see a little pressure there too. So it's picking up against the dollar. You see the white line move down below. And then let's check it out over here. And there is the CAD. CAD, and now look at that. On the Chicago Quant, it's been in the daily sell for a few days. And looks like it's trying to climb back up again. How about that? Surprised me there. I thought, maybe it was, still rolling over. But it's not. How about that? So we'll have to see if they're going to keep that action up in the Canadian. Yeah, what about that, huh? And you can see the weekly's been in a sell for a while. It's more of a sideways action. As much as it's been a winner chicken dinner, it's still sideways action. I mean, really, it went into the weekly sell in this area up in here. It goes down, it comes back to it, goes down, it makes a lower low, comes back not to it, but close to it. Because it right here is still. We can put a line in there real quick just to give you that flavor of it, like that. So it goes into the sell in this area here. You can see it's making a lower high, which I guess it's indicative of the possibility that we're going to see it take this low out and see some strength. We'll have to see. Here we are trying to get into a daily buy here. We got a red dot, so it doesn't mean much. But look at the histogram and the white line. It's piercing up, and if we started to see this white line here down below start to pierce the manifold, we'd have to start thinking, wonder if we're seeing a little corrective move back again. But there's the Canadian. Now let's drift back over to, let's see what it is on this. There it is on the J4X. You can see it's also in a sell and hasn't gotten to the buy yet, but it'll be joining in probably in the next 6 hours. Remember, this is a laggard relative to Doc's math, but it's definitely a leader compared to using, say, something like the MACD underneath it. So that's the action we're seeing there. Hey, no problem at all. What are the new indicators on J4X you put on the bottom? Oh, we're on it. Down at the bottom is the MACD. We have some people here that like to trade both of those numbers using this as the leader. MACD, the Market Technicians Association here in the States, and I'd imagine it's the same all over the world, they consider the MACD a leading indicator, and they consider the stochastics a lagging indicator. But the way Doc uses the stochastics outperforms the leading indicator. So it's the way we use it, it's a leading indicator also, because we're comparing two different stochastics against each other, not the high or the low. And George, I can't think of George's last name. George is the one that brought the stochastic to the modern financial markets. He's credited as the, I guess, the discoverer of it, or the introducing technician of it. And George and I used to talk about this decades ago. I used to say to him, I like to compare things against each other, and he said, yeah, I do that and high and low. And I was like, yeah, but I don't find the high and low as insightful as I find the competition between a slow and a fast against each other at two different cycles. And so I used to talk to George once in a while. Us technicians, market newsletter technician people, are in more contact than you realize. At first I really wanted to be a competitive, combatant type, but none of them really want to get into that as much as I do. So it just shows you how good my math is compared to others. They don't. I mean, I'm not afraid of it, but I'm not going to steamroll anybody either. So I'm just going to let it be. In other words, I just be part of the gang and hang out. But I still talk the talk and do the walk. So I hope that helped you out there, 47. Now, let's see. What did we do? We're heading to see what it looks like on the euro, right there. And there's the euro. You can see the euro is trying to lift up, like it is right there. Let's see how it fills in with all the math. 24%. Bing, 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 bing. Yeah, see, it's doing the same thing. been through the daily buy area for a couple of days now. This histogram stuff is trying to turn up. I don't really watch it that closely. I observe it, but I'm not. I don't give an interpretation yet about it. I need to watch it longer. I haven't used the MACD in decades, and it's kind of like I said. Some traders here like looking at it, so why not? Put it on there. Like I said to them, it's a lagging indicator compared to what we're looking at now on J4X. So let's not, we can use it as like an experimental, example or a lab, a laboratory of ideas, that type of thing. And so that's what we normally do there. Ooh, what's this? I just saw something come up. Saw somebody say something. Video. Okay, principles. Let's see. For U.S. living in desert, snowing means good. Good weather. Yeah, really. All right. That's that Skype with Dukascopy. All right. So there we are. That's the action we're seeing in the euro. Now we'll drift over to the one that has me in a conundrum. Let's take a look at it. It is the Turkish Lira. Let's put it up on J4X first, and then we're going to run over to Chicago Quant and show you how our math is not doing what it normally does. And it's really a surprise to me, but we'll just keep on watching and see if it'll get up there one way or the other. The currency is a really tough one compared to a stock. It's very illiquid. Let's put it there. What we have is we went into the daily buy. We were through the weekly buy throughout the whole week, and we thought for sure this was going to go take out this, dotted line up in here, and that's why we have the box up there and the whole bit. What it was going to do is try to make what it gave up on this move right here inside this box. And it started to do it and then stopped and rolled over. And we're in a weekly sell, and we went into a daily sell. I guess it was like right here. And it won for a day or two. And then now, as you can see, no, it shouldn't be there. We should put it down below. And now, as you can see, right there, it went down and then stopped. And you can see right here, we're trying to lift up. Let's move that over there like that. You can see here it's trying to lift up, but the weekly is still in the sell, and we really thought that this was going to make a move to this area here. Over 40 some odd years it has done it on every product like that. So we're going to observe this, see how it goes, and see if it gets back into a daily buy and a weekly buy, and then take and basically makes all this back from that gap there. And so that's what we're watching for. And that's just the way the markets work. We follow the numbers, and the numbers lead us normally 8.5 out of 10 times in the right direction, and sometimes at 1.5 it gives you a warning, like warning Will Robinson, don't be involved. In this case here, where it's more, I'd say it's more not dynamic, it's more deliberate. The word is deliberate, meaning that it's pretty aggressive. And it's a tough product. There's no doubt about it. I could see the mechanics and what the problems are that's probably interfering in the mathematics, but in the end result is this is what we said, and that's what we're watching for. So we're just going to hold on to that and hold our hat and see if we can get this thing into a daily and weekly buy again and see how far it runs. And that's where we're at with the Turkish Lira. We just took a look at the Canadian. So what was it? Let me just quick look at it again. See, it's moving up. So we're thinking oil has to have some pressure on it. Is that the way it works? Yeah, oil should have some pressure on it on the downside. And let's see. Let's take a look at the NASCAD and see what the NASCAD is doing right there. Now that's telling us that we should see some upside move in the oil, but both of them are in the weekly sells, so there's pressure there. So I'm thinking oil. I haven't looked at oil in hours, so I'm not really sure where it's at. Let's go find oil. More like last night. I haven't looked at oil since last night. Even when I saved the chart this morning, I didn't pay attention to it. Okay, so it's up a little bit, and that's what we're kind of thinking. It should be sideways, not down, just sideways in here. It should be not far off its open, but it's showing some life in it, so that's pretty impressive. Let's just give it a refresh. You can see here it's not in a daily buy. It's making a very aggressive move into the weekly. After, let's see, what is it? That's line 5 on the fact check spreadsheet here. So you can see right there, 18 weeks in a buy, 1 day in a sell. Maybe after 18 weeks, it's going to find a way to take a profit. I guess that's what the answer to that is. And let's scrunch it up so you can see where we are. Yeah, so we've been our math has been telling us to be long this product on a week-to-week basis since the mid-40s in November. And here we are, what, May? Or we're in April. Okay, so April. So what's that, 4 months going on 5 months? So that's what we're seeing here. And you can see this weakness started up in here. You know, we got the daily sell. It rolled over. You know, it was a big slam down. It's been sideways out of that action. Now we have the weekly trying to join in. It's going to be interesting. But that's what we watch. We watch the Canadian pairs trade, and we watch the Kiwi against the Canadian pairs trade. We watch those two pairs to try to get a flavor of what the oil markets might be doing, or the energy markets. And then what we do is we go check out some of the energy markets around here. So you can see here there's some strength coming in this, but we're still a red dot, and we're not through. And we can widen that out so you can see it better, like that. And we're not through the zero line. It's touching it and bouncing back off of it. Now let's check out the natural gas. Natural gas went into a sell there yesterday and is actually a loser. It's not a winner chicken dinner. It's a loser because we are in a weekly sell. So it said all clear, be short. And now it's saying hope you have a good working stop. Yeah, so gotta lose it once in a while around here. Gotta take some. It's taking some of the money you made over here, or the money you might have made over here, or the money you made over here, or the, let's see, okay, that was the sell right there. Oh no, it's the opposite. They're shorts. So it's the money you made here, or the money you made there, and let's see, it was a long daily buy. It wouldn't let you have anything. Look at that. Maybe the holidays messed it up a little bit in there. But that is the natural gas, and went into that sell, and it's a loser after 2 fantastic wins. So money management is the key there, traders, at the same time. You know, you want to have your stops, or if you're trading options, at least you know what your risk is already. Or you have binaries, same thing. You know what your risk is already. So that's it with the energy there. Now we can go over and check out the gas oil that they put in the automobiles. Let's see what that's looking like this morning. And there it is. There's the May contract. And it's trying to perk its head up too. You can see a little volatility action going on. Let's give it a refresh. And so you can see here. Oh, you weren't able to see those other two. I just realized that. Okay. So you can see here, this is in a weekly buy. This is in a daily buy. Then it goes into the daily sell yesterday. Can't take it because we're in a weekly buy. And now it's flirting with getting back into the daily buy again. So, and then when we drift over to, go back to the crude oil, there it is right there. You can see that. You know, flirting with a weekly sell pretty, what I would say, deliberately. Very aggressive. And it went into the sell here and is lifting up. So it's a squeeze going on to anybody that's trying to trade this to the numbers. And then, where was it at? Nat gas was blocked. You couldn't see that. Same game going on there. Except for in this case here, it's still below the zero line. So it's basically saying ignore this and have your hedge on because it's probably going to roll over again. And as long as it's in that weekly sell and they're below the zero line, more than likely they will find a way to roll over. Alrighty, let's see, that is the look at the energy sector. Now what we do is we drift back to the currency pairs and we go over to the, where's it at? Right there we go, right to the Russian ruble. And obviously with all that noise going on along the Crimea area, I don't think anything is, you know, the Russians have proven to be a smart group of people. So I don't really see any real conflict go on there. I mean, any more than what's already there. I don't see any like expanded conflict. You know, even with Bozo Biden, you know, it's so hard. I mean, he tried to overtake him, and Mr. Obama and Mrs. Clinton tried to overthrow Mr. Putin. So I'm sure he's going to pull Biden's chain about as best as he can but I doubt he'll do anything too dramatic more than that. And it's easy to do with Biden. You can pull his chain pretty easily. He's pretty much out of the game to begin with. He's just they're both laughable at best. All right, that's what happens when you have elections stolen from you. You get some really weird people involved in government, and that's where we are. You can see that the ruble just slowly marching up. I think we went into the buy right there, right? Yeah. So let's put that line in. There's the daily buy, and we're in the weekly buy. So it's been a winner chicken dinner. All right, we drift over to the yen. See the yen for the last 2 days. I don't know if that's the China noise that goes on or just the dollar characteristic at the moment. More than likely, it's more of the dollar thing. I really have a hard time taking the Chinese too serious militarily. I think that they would. You ever hear the old expression "one shot once"? I think they've shown also that they know better not to get too involved. They can rattle their sword. They can posture very aggressively, but I don't really think they're going to do anything about it. I don't think. I think that would shake them up. I don't think that would work out very well. So I'm not really confident that as much as China rattles everybody's cage, I don't really think they're going to do anything. And the classic is you see this crypto that they're trying to build. They're going to this will happen. They will have a crypto, but it's not going to be like Bitcoin or Ethereum. All it is like a credit card, and they're calling it a cryptocurrency, but it's not. What happens is that you'll be able to buy and sell with this crypto without cash. So it's basically like a credit card, and all it is that gives the People's Bank of China live updates of what you're buying even more than normal. I don't really see it catching on anymore. I did see a headline. Now I can discuss this with you. I did see a headline that they said that the yuan was actually moving up pretty aggressively compared to what it has done in a while, but it's still in the twos. So what it is, it went from like 2.3% of world demand up to something like 2.45. That 0.015 is pretty aggressive. It's not like it went from 2 to 4 or 2 to 6. It went from 2.3 to like 2.45. And so they're considering that a pretty high percentage move. To me, it's the beta of it. I kind of look at it as the beta, and I don't really look at it that being that aggressive at all. It's still a very low beta for supposedly the second most active economy in the world, and I always use that word supposedly because I just don't understand how can, like, the euro is like 15% of world market, and the yen is something like, I don't know, like 12% of the world market. How can the yuan only be 2.45, not even 3% of the world market? To me, it just says, nah, whatever they think the Chinese yuan and the economy is there, I really think it's like, be careful. As much as this whole world in the QE era, you have to just walk around all day long saying to yourself, be careful in general. But, I mean, I don't know. I just don't see it. I mean, the math just does not confirm that they are the second largest economy in the world. Now, do they have, close to 1 billion consumers? Yeah, no doubt about it. But, the Commonwealth has 2 billion consumers. So why isn't everybody running around telling us that the Commonwealth could be the next most powerful economy in the world? Matter of fact, when you look at the currencies of the Commonwealth, I mean, you're looking at, like 20 some odd % of the world's currency being traded every day in the Commonwealth, and you're only seeing less than 2.5 in the Chinese yuan. So I just, traders, I just follow numbers, and I just don't see it. It's kind of like that global warming thing that they got going on, or climate change, or whatever they call it this week. It really is more of a spiritual thing than it is a factual thing. The math doesn't reflect it. I like to quote good old Freeman Dyson. God, may rest in peace. Freeman used to say, I talked to him a few times here and there, and Freeman used to, he was a Democrat. He was your classic labor person coming out of England, out of university, and his family and all like that. And he came to the United States and he stayed here. And he was Al Einstein's, and Freeman, Feynman, and he was a brilliant man all the way to the day he died. He died just a year and a half ago, and brilliant man. And he just would not commit. As much as he was a Democrat, he did not want to commit anything to do with global warming. He just said, yeah, I see it, I just don't see any math in it. But it could be, he would say, but it isn't right now. And so I have to go. There's no real scientists out there that are willing to put their name to it. And so I look at the yuan as the same thing. It's like a spiritual thing. When you look at the math, it just doesn't fit. There's just not there. Now, this digital currency that the People's Bank of China is going to do is going to be really good for, credit card, I guess. Instead of having to pay a commission on credit cards, you'll be able to just do it for free, maybe, I guess. I don't know. That's what it looks like to me. So that's the whole gist of it all at the moment. All right, let's drift away from that. But, someone should mention that. The Commonwealth has 2 billion people, and they trade over 20, all their currencies combined together trade over 20% of the world currency marketplace. So, why isn't that taken more serious? Who knows? Maybe in the end, the Commonwealth could be a very good competitor as a world reserve currency. Because obviously, the euro, which we were all hoping would be here in the States, we really did. We were hoping they would pick up the share of responsibility of being a global reserve, I mean, the United States is not exactly happy that it's stuck in that position. As much as everybody thinks that we are. Trust me, we're not. And so it messes our stats up. It really does. It makes it hard to measure an economy. Now we're in the QE year. It doesn't really matter anymore. That's a really funny thing. You really want to think about it. In a QE era, it's kind of irrelevant who is the world reserve currency, as long as they can prop up the rest of the world with it. I mean, did you see what Mrs. Yellen came out with? She's talking about globalism. And over the last couple of days, she wants everybody to raise their interest rates. No, I'm sorry, not their interest rates. Their tax rates higher to finance the American bailout. She's looking at it. In some ways, there is some logic to that. As a leftist, that makes total sense. As a capitalist myself, I don't pay attention to it at all. I find it to be irrelevant. But the socialists here in America who are in power at the moment, they want the world to raise their taxation so that they can help us pay for the get the bill passed to spend all that money. So that's a real wild thing. I mean, I doubt you're hearing that. Not many talking heads are talking about that, but she asked for that the last 24 to 48 hours. Maybe she figured she'd do that while no one was watching, But she wants the world to join in, and she keeps on saying that. Now, the way she phrases it's a little funny, She's like, I think everybody should raise their taxes to help us be able to raise our taxes. But that's what you're really asking for is if you're raising your taxes, the United States is raising its taxes, and the rest of the world does not, then it puts pressure on the U.S. So she wants the whole world to join in and basically help pay for our stimulus thing for new roads and bridges. So I guess maybe in the end, maybe they'll throw $1 billion here and $1 billion there to other countries too for it. I saw where they're out of that. They're talking about giving $100 billion to Paris Accords for climate change. I have no idea what they would spend $100 billion on. I mean, honestly, I have no idea, and I'm deep up to my neck in weather, and I've actually taken, I can actually talk like a weatherman. I took weather courses in as part of our physics thing. We actually had the director of the region here teach our course. We were able to use the Air Force Base and go on and use their computers back in the 70s. So I mean, I have no idea what they would spend $100 billion on. Anybody have an idea? Put it on the chat line, because I have no idea what $100 billion would be used for. I mean, I have no idea. I mean, I can't even guess besides payoffs, I guess. Buying what? I have no idea. What would they? How can you change the weather with $100 billion? I have no idea how that would work. None. I don't see how they could do that. I mean, I just don't understand that. So anyway, that's where we're at. We're at that point. So anyway, let's drift over to some of the other currency pairs. I think we've gotten our point across about the yuan and the yen and the ruble. And let's see, we've oh yes, let's check out the Mexican peso. I understand that what was it? Bill Gates wanted to darken the sun, block the sun out with some type of eclipse type device up in the atmosphere. And I understand at one point Norway or Denmark was willing to do it with him, and they've just turned him down finally a couple of days ago. So there's the Mexican peso. You can see we're in a daily sell right here. It's been moving down on the daily. We're in a weekly sell from in here, and it's moving down, and so that's what the Mexican peso has been doing against the dollar there. Fascinating stuff, traders, what we talk about. We try to bring all this stuff into reality. How do you make money? If they're going to put out $100 billion, how do we make money out of that? How do us traders benefit from that? That's the bigger question, and that's what the math's all about. Trying to figure out how to make some money out of this whole thing. We don't trade the trade; we trade to make money. That's the name of the game. All right, so there's the peso. So we're kind of done there at the peso. Now what we'll do is we're going to go to unless someone wants to see something, we're going to drift over to the did we look at the energies? Yeah, we looked at the energies. Let's look at the next what I would call the artificial currencies. And that is now we're going to look at the metals market, because the metals are definitely used. The commodities are used as a currency. So let's drift over to that. We'll take a look at gold. And there's gold. You can see gold's been moving up, so the dollar is moving down normally. That's how that usually works. You can see we're still having issues with the weekly here. Let's contract that a little bit like that. Thing's been in a weekly sell since back here, since the $1,900 area. And you can see the pressure on it, even 1850. We've gone down into the high 16s twice now, there and there. And you can see we're in a daily buy from that low, and the weekly is trying to inch its way up. Now let's take a look at silver, the other metal that is relatively popular. And you can see it's flirting with a weekly buy right there. See that right there? We've got the little oval going in there. And you can see the daily's been in a buy since the, where to close at? Closed at the 24.53 area. And we are now trading, what's today's high? What did I say that was? 24.53. Today's high is 25.25. So it's moved up almost 70 some odd cents. That's pretty cool. 47 and 25, yeah. So 72 cents. So it's been a move up in there, but we're still stuck in the weekly sell. But you can see it's trading higher the last 2 days. So it's giving some indication of some buyers coming in. Robin's been saying he's been seeing some positive work in there, but it drifted away from it the last time. It didn't take off. It was in here. We went into the daily buy. We thought, oh, maybe we're going to get that ride up. You can see it was right here. You can see that the histogram was moving up. The green line was coming up to the lower time manifold right there. And we kept on waiting for it to run for like a week and a half. And it just stayed in the daily buy going nowhere. And then went into the daily sell, and they sold it right off again. And then, let's see. How did they do that? Okay, that shouldn't be there because of the weekly. So remove that. And then remove that. And then that's it right there. Because it was already in a sell because these two things stopped it from going into the buy. So that pressure finally showed up again. I don't think Robin and I have talked about it because this is pretty much over the holidays. I'll have to ask him. You around, Robin? Throw it up on the J4X if your math is turning in. Robin has a tool that he uses for the metals complex. Is it starting to turn again? Are you seeing your dots turn up? Any action there? Let's see if he's listening. So we're seeing the metals, which is a surrogate for the currencies, showing some strength in there, and obviously that means usually the dollar is going down when they show strength. Let's take a look at copper. Copper came in a daily buy. It's been in a daily buy for a few days, but we've been in a weekly sell. Now they're flirting today with a daily sell. So we'll see if that holds up. I'm not sure how long that'll take to play itself out, but that's the action we're seeing. Let's give it a refresh, too, to see if it's still holding up. Yeah, still holding up. Is flirting with the daily sell. Let's see how it ends the rest of the day. If it keeps that and goes into a daily sell. Notice at the same time we were flirting yesterday. I think that's, where is that now? Is anything a plus there now? I don't think so. No, neither of them are pluses. The plot 4 and plot 1, there has to be a plus. So we're going to remove that little circly thing for the moment, and until it touches through there again. So that's the action we're seeing here. And you can see just a little dance going on right there where it's trying to put itself into the daily sell. Let's see, what do we do here? We'll widen that like so. And then give it a refresh like so. And you can see it putting that pressure on there, right there. All right. From the metals complex, platinum. Let's see what platinum's doing. Let's put gold up on J4X, and we'll see what platinum is at. See how the pairs trade looks like there. We're a big fan. I call that the Mrs. Yellen spread. She's definitely, going back to some of her old tricks as a Fed chair, and now she's the U.S. Secretary of Treasury. You can see there, gold trading at 1734, and let's take a look at the platinum in July. Trading at 1725. So what is that? 519? Oh, 26? No, 25 now. So we're looking at 219, 218 and a half, something like that. So it's been, not 2. I'm sorry, 5. So this has been a victorious pairs trade, and we'll see how Mrs. Yellen goes along in here with the rest of it. We figured that when she became Secretary of the Treasury, we would see the spread, which was trading around 1,025, 1,050, right in that area. We thought we'd see it play down into the 6s and the 7s, but it's really marched its way down to the 5s, a whole 50% drop. Very impressive. So, it's now seems to have found a way to sit there, which is fine with me. And maybe another shoe will drop, and it'll go down like another. We're thinking that it wants to go to 250 in the end. That's where we really thought it was going to go. I don't know, didn't have a real time frame to it. But when Mrs. Yellen was Federal Reserve chairwoman, the platinum spread was trading from the par or evens up to around 2 and change. And then once she left, it exploded all the way up to $1,000. So we figured that her policies are going to be predominant again, so we just assumed that the spread would have to go down. It did. It went from 1,000 and change down to 500. Actually, it broke all the way down to 400 and something before we got a warning signal. That was turn back up again. All right. Now, let's see. What else can we do about that? We're going to go to... Let's see, where are we going to go to? We're going to go to... What are we going to do here? We're going to go to, that's the metals complex. So that's all done. We use that to look at it because it's a surrogate for the, you're a fund or a country and you want to buy your currency and sell the dollar. It's a pairs trade. Well, the central banks have an envelope or a channel that they're keeping these things in. So what you do is instead you go and you sell the metals, anything dominant in dollars, and now you're short the gold, or I'm sorry, not the short the gold. If you short gold, you're short the dollar, or silver or platinum or whatever. You're short the dollar by being short those metals. You need to convert your currency into dollars to flatten it out. So if they're not going to flatten it out, then what happens is that you've created a synthetic position on it. Hey MGA, how you doing? So that is what it is. Now let's drift over to you didn't miss anything particular. We've looked at all the currencies and both, rotations that we look at. And what we do, we looked at the energies and we looked at the metals. So now what we'll do is we'll take a look at some stock indices here. And MGA or anybody else that wants to see anything, just shout it out. We'll stop what we're doing, and we will go over there and explore whatever anybody would like to look at. That's how we work around here. Let's see. Let's look at the NASDAQ 100. You can see it's coming back up. Here's the, let's see. Here is a intraday one too. You want to see what it did today. Right there. We're going to throw that up like that, and we're going to put it up on the screen for you, like so. And there's the, this is the NASDAQ 100. Dukascopy refers to it as the Tech 100. Oh, am I in the wrong spot? I think I'm in the wrong spot. There it is. Let's go right there. Tech 100 right there. That's what it is. So they trade it too. You can trade it through Dukascopy there. And you can see here, this is our 693 contract bar chart for today. This is midnight here in the States. This is the London Open, Swiss Open right here. And you can see they made new lows, had a nice breakdown. If we widen this out, and this is the flavor of the day, basically, of how it's trading. Our math broke down here, and you can see it gave it a little pop here, and then the second ride for the A, B, and woohoo C was a good winner chicken dinner. And then you can see a little bounce and bottoming in here, and now you can see, let's see if we can move this up a little bit more. There you go. And if we contract this down a little bit, like so, you get a better flavor of it. And if we do this too, just make it a little bit thickerish, go to style, and make it that one right there. There you go. That's much nicer. You can see the action going on in there. So you can see the stock indices. What are they? They're down. What are they down a little bit? Nothing major. 30, 40 points, 20 points, something like that. All right. So, and then here it is right there. So yeah, you see it's trading at 58. What is it? It's down. How much is that down? Oh, it's down nothing. It's down 2 points. It was like 60 points down at one moment. It was down in here. It was like down 60 points, trading at 1520. Now we're trading at 1580. It's almost unchanged. Take a look at. Let's see. Oh, we got to move this back over to there on a daily. Let's see, where's it at? Right there. So there's the daily of it. You can see it holding up very well in here. In a daily buy from Friday, and a daily buy from like Wednesday, I guess it was, wasn't it? Is that Wednesday? The 30th? Maybe Tuesday? Because let's see, the first and the second. Let's see, when was the 30th? Let's just take a look and see. I think that was Tuesday, right? Yeah. No. Yeah, Tuesday. It was Tuesday. So, thing has been trying to push up. This was up most of the week, and here we are. All right. Now, let's drift over to the S&P 500. And you can see that has been in a weekly buy for 2 full weeks and has moved from the 390-ish area to the, where's the high yesterday? Was 473. So it went up 83 points. Now today they've knocked it down, and what we can do is we can give you a good visual of that trading, how it started off. This is my longer term view. I look at it during the trading day that I trade out of. Let's go to that. You see that right there. They sold it down in the Asian hours right there. And then you can see when it came to the European hours, they smashed it again with the London and the Frankfurt and the the Swiss openings and Milan openings and all that other and French openings. And then you can see they found a bottom in there, and they've found a way to lift up. And you can see our work right here was lifting up. They went and tested it again, and now it's on a smooth ride up, and now it's just testing at a higher. So we're making higher lows, if you noticed. A higher low there, and now a higher low there. Whoop, right there. So something to definitely watch, keep an eye on. There's a lot of capital out there, traders. You know, the central banks, they've got to buy something that tries to make some money. I know that these stocks are way overvalued, but there's no other game in town. It's that situation, and that's exactly what we're observing. And then at the same time, the government is getting ready to plow even more cash into the economy. So it's getting really freaky. I mean, it's like, wow. Hey, Robin, did you? How's your silver indicator doing? Is it getting some dots and giving us an indication of some up movement? I'll go back to that. Let me just, I wanted to get your opinion on that. There it is right there. You can see it's flirting with a weekly buy at the moment right there. Been in a daily buy for 3 full days. So, just wondering if you were seeing some indication of the action, if it was trying to tell you something. So take a look at your work and give us an opinion on what you see. Robin's work is very solid. Robin's run funds and so forth. Like myself, we've been in the biz together about over 90 some odd years. And yeah, it's 9-0. And so me 40 some odd years and Robin almost 50 years. Yeah, he's like 46, 47 years. I'm like 44 years. So we just crack over the 90, heading for the century mark. And so that's where we are with the metals. We went through the metals, Robin, showing everybody how it's a surrogate for the currencies. So we looked at all 4 metals there. All right, now let's see what we were looking at. We were looking at this. Yes. Was that right? No, I know what it was. We were looking at this down below. That's what it is. Okay, yeah. So that's the S&P 500 making higher lows just the same way that the NASDAQ is doing that. Both are making higher lows from there, and from there. So they're making higher highs there and there and there, and chances are we'll watch to see how it runs up to that solid line and see if it holds up or starts to roll over. All right. Now we'll drift over to, where are we drifting to? That's the S&P. So let's see, where is it at? Let me get that mouse again. Where are you, mouse? There it is. So there is the. We went to the silver, and there it is right there. Let's switch that over. You can see there, the strength in it through our Chicago Quant. And then let's check out the Dow Jones Industrial Average right there. Same thing, fighting to stay in a buy. Looks like it slid into the sell on Thursday. I didn't take that too serious since it was a holiday. And you can see it's going up. It's making new highs. It's finding ways to grow. Our weekly is pushing up. Everything looks just fine. You can see over there on the fact check spreadsheet. Do we even have that on there? I don't think we do. Nah, I guess we don't. We don't put it on there. Yeah, so it's been in a weekly buy for weeks. You can see that. It started off here. So it's like, whoa, is it 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. 5 full weeks. I remember waking up and realizing when it was like 3 weeks in, and I was like, oh my God, Robin, I guess I got to bite the bullet and be long that thing. I hate the idea of being long with a weekly sell. But, we did, and it does. It's going up. All it's done is played its way up again. All right. Let's see. Where do we go? Oh, let's look at the Russell 2000. That's the basically the boneyard, I guess you could call it. It's the all the little companies that are, and you can't. They call them small because of their capitalization. But, I mean, some of them are like $2 billion companies. That's not exactly small, but that's what it is. So, you can see here Russell is fighting its way to be plus also. And it doesn't look like any weakness there. You can see at the same time, the daily is holding up as much. It's right on the edge of going into a sell. So, we're seeing, the strength in these products. Let's give this a refresh. There's right there. looking firm here this morning. It's almost unchanged. And you can see the weekly is trying to lift its little... No, I see what it is. It's been in a weekly buy, and it flirted with a weekly sell for the last week and a half. And it did come down, It did come down, but not a lot. I mean, it was barely a possible... I think if we know the price right, it was a small win. But it's not something I would cheer about. It's just not a lot there. All right, so there's the 4 stock indices. If anybody cares to see anything else, let me know. We'll jump over to it. All right, now, let's see. Let me lower that volume a little bit. Let's see. I think we've looked at all the currency pairs that we normally look at. So we'll just drift around a little bit. Let's see, what else can we look at here? I left something up there just in case Andy showed up. Where was it? It's down here, isn't it? There it is, right there. I want to show you, if Andy, you're around out there, check this out. It's that ARKK. Right there. There it is. It closed in a daily sell. It was flirting with the weekly buy yesterday morning. So I sent a copy of it over with you, threw an extra chart up there for you, and then Robin sent it out, and then last night it closed in a daily sell, but it's pretty much unchanged at the moment. But you can see the pressure on it. And you can see the pressure there. You see this is trying to drop below the 0 line. Actually, is it now? Yeah, it's minus 0.09, and it's not. Is it a super? It is a super. Let's see. Let me just check it out. Okay, so we're not using the super on it. It's just running the 3 on there too. And so you can see it's just underneath at the moment. That's where we are. Plot 4 and plot 9. Plot 1, I'm sorry. Plot 1 and plot 4 minus. So there's pressure on that. All right. Now, let's see. Where do we run from here? I just thought I'd show that to you, if you're out there. No problem at all. I didn't send it over to Robin this morning. I figured I would save it and give you a live opinion of it right there. Matter of fact, let's give it a refresh. And we'll go from there. Yeah. Let's see, where is that at now? Yeah, it's still 9 and 18. So we're not getting any real buying in here. And then I guess the pressure was more than anything else. It probably is that pressure of... what Swiss Credit had to liquidate. Didn't they lose $2.5–3 billion overall, or $5 billion over the last 4 or 5 days, liquidating from the noise of that family trading desk? I think that's probably the pressure on it. That's why I didn't send you a chart. I wanted to talk about it a little bit for you, because I know that you said you were long this thing. Andy's one of our subscribers, and and I don't like to see subscribers lose money. So I figured, don't send the chart. Let's just talk about it live, and I could, we could inform you. I was going to let Robin know if you didn't show up. I would, he could tell you to go look at the video of this. So, yeah, that pressure's on. You can see it's been in a weekly sell since this area here, the 150s, and it's been a pressure. Probably that family desk has been probably gnawing at it. That's where it's really the damage is probably coming from the family desk. Arca something or another. It's one of Julian Roberts' tigers. Supposedly he's a pretty sharp guy. He got himself up to almost $100 billion. He was worth about $100 billion, which is pretty impressive. A lot of us people in the financial industry we're not all like Dalio and talk goofy shit. We usually hide what we're doing, but then Dalio is known to be a little odd. Yeah, Dalio, but he was the family desk. He'd gotten up at one point. I understand that Forbes had him. He was worth $20 billion, which puts him over Dalio. Remember the Tigers. Some of those Tigers are pretty sharp. I've known one or two of the Tigers. Julian Roberts was a legendary hedge fund guy, and he's still alive, but he's pretty old. And what he did is he he taught a bunch of young people how to trade their hedge fund, how to create a hedge fund, and how to trade it like he did. And they referred to them as Julian Roberts Tigers. And so they were. You ever see, every so often, if you're reading in the financial news somewhere and they say he was a tiger, what it is, it was about half a dozen or 8 or 9 of them, something like that. Some of them opened up down in New Zealand. They moved to New Zealand because of the time situation, thinking that they could benefit from the Asian markets and the U.S. markets, that type of thing. And so that's what that's all about. But then this one particular one, who Julian Roberts last week came out and just basically said, this guy is so sharp. You know, he basically made $100 billion almost out of thin air. And, you know, it was real dollars he had in his pockets. And now I don't know how much he's lost, but obviously he's lost the $100 billion, but we don't know how much he kept private. You know, in other words, he may have $4 or $5 billion in other entities that, you know, he's still a billionaire. He's just not, you know, the big nut that he was. Not mean nut, but, you know, that big asset value. You know, like, you know, sometimes you refer to in trading, that's a big nut. It costs too much. You know, in other words, like a squirrel hunting for a nut, and you know, it's a big one compared to a small nut. You know, not like crazy nut. So, hey Douglas, how you doing there? Could you please comment on the euro again? Yeah, sure, no problem at all. Let's see, where am I at? Which one is that? That's up top. So let's switch over to the euro. Up top, right there, and let's head over to that. Right there. And matter of fact, no, that's the Mexican peso. And there is the euro right there. You can see we're seeing some strength. We went into the daily buy yesterday. Let's put that line in there. I thought I put the line in there before. What happened with that? Change the page and it disappears on me. And we have 2 days right here. You know, Friday of last week. Thursday of last week and Friday of last week. You know, trying to lift, and giving us warning that it's trying to go up, but not to be long because we're in a weekly sell, but just don't be short. That's what it was telling you right there. That's what those signals represent. And then yesterday it closed in a buy, and you can see it moved up, but the white line is through the time manifold. We're in a sell still, and it's showing the strength. You really officially can't be long unless you're doing it through binaries or option spreads. Because if you're long the hard delta, you might get stopped out. You're using good money management. And so we're seeing some strength in here. We're seeing, you know, let's contract that a little bit. You can see we've been in a weekly sell since the 121, 122 area up in here. That's what this represents. That line there represents a weekly sell. And it also went into a daily sell. So it was a nice winner, chicken dinner. You know, caught that whole ride. Our math, you know, you could be hard delta short that baby with no problem. And then it, you know, it gave a little correction there, nothing major. Still stayed in the weekly sell, so you can't take that buy. It just gives you a warning here with the red and the green that it's trying to pop. It does. And then, you know, we go back into a sell, and it flips it right back again. You can't take the long again because why? We're in a weekly sell. And then we go the next day into a daily sell telling us you can be short. And it does. It rides down for a bunch of days up until just a couple of weeks ago. I hope that helped you out there, Douglas. And so that's how we roll around here. We try to inform everybody what we see. We're an electronic newsletter, I guess, and charting service, and or we describe everything through our charts. And that's Chicago Quant Technologies, and we have the J4X over here using Dukascopy's work. We have a couple of concepts there. Tune in tomorrow. We'll describe you how that works. Anyway, traders, it's been fun. Doc's happy to talk about the markets. I love talking about the markets. All right, this is Doc from North America saying arrivederci. We will catch you tomorrow on the same place, same time. And I am the singing trader, and I'm a big cowboy fan. So not the football team, but the movies. So happy trails to you. That's until we meet again. That's probably why the picture has me with a cowboy hat on. Happy trails to you. To all our trading friends, and we do live in cattle country here down in southern New Jersey. We're in farmland, and we're on the farm, and so we're a cowboy. Hey, no problem, Douglas. We'll catch you later. Doc saying over and out.